So how's it going, guys? I'm back with a retrospective of Sonic Advance 3. So here on this channel you can find retrospectives of Sonic Advance 1 and 2, and finally we're going to be looking at the third game in the series, and this is a favorite among many, and I wouldn't say that this is my favorite. I probably would still have to go with Sonic Advance 2 overall. But 3 is definitely a very worthy Sonic Advance entry, and Sonic game in general. It is probably the most teamwork-oriented Sonic game I've seen done right. Better than Sonic Heroes, no sloppy, slippery controls, nothing really driving me fucking mad. Well, there's a few things in this game that gets me a bit frustrated, and we'll get to them eventually. But overall, this is a really satisfying game that does a lot of intriguing, interesting, and original things with the gameplay that make it a more than worthwhile play. You should definitely, if you have not played Sonic Advance 3, you should definitely try this one out. Sonic, Tails, Amy, Knuckles, and Cream are all back from the second game, and they're all available for you to play with, and some of them need to be unlocked first. And what's really interesting is that you must play as a team. So you're not flying solo at all through any of these zones. So you need to pick who you're going to control, and you need to pick a partner. And what's interesting is your moveset changes depending on who you pick and what combination you decide to do. So you could be Sonic and Tails, and your special tag move will be different depending on who you control. So say you choose Sonic and Tails, and you're controlling Sonic and Tails is falling behind you. If you perform the tag maneuver by pressing the R shoulder button, you can throw Sonic up into the air and he can reach new heights, or you could do the classic carry where Tails will fly with Sonic grasping his hands. But say you choose to be in control of Tails with Sonic following behind you. Sonic will launch Tails off with blinding speed. But sometimes, judging on who your partner is, you're going to have a different moveset. Because if I choose to control Tails with Sonic following behind, I can still fly as Tails always does. And he can fly upward, and he could reach new heights within a given stage. But if I have Knuckles tagging along with me, for example, I actually can't do that. I can just sort of slow my descent, which is kind of lame. Kind of didn't really like that, how judging on who you choose as a partner, you can sometimes lose some really good abilities. And though you may gain others, they're always not as good, and they feel very tacked on. It's not a perfect team system, but I have to say that I still really do enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun trying out all the different combinations. I'll be honest, for my first playthrough, I mostly did Sonic and Tails. I controlled Sonic with Tails following behind me. I did switch and have Amy be my partner for a while because I do like the boost that she gives you where she whacks you with the hammer as sending you upward. This is very helpful. If you're having trouble reaching certain areas, this is definitely a added boost, literally, and I really like that a lot. So I would greatly encourage you to definitely eventually try out all the different combinations. Like, it's really cool that you can, if you have Knuckles falling behind you, you can jump on his back and glide with him. That is really cool. That's a really nice visual as well. So this is just a really awesome system, to say the least. It's not perfect, but it's new, and it definitely works better than something like Knuckles Chaotix or Sonic Heroes, as I mentioned before, and that says a lot. It seems like they really got it right. There was a lot of care put into this, and Though it may not be perfect and there's a few kinks that maybe could have ironed out, I really can't complain too much because it's a lot of fun. So this is a Game Boy Advance game, so there's certainly not going to be much of a story to be told. But what is there is interesting. So this is very Sonic Unleashed-ish, because Eggman uses Chaos Control to split the planet into 7 different pieces. And that is sort of like Sonic Unleashed. And I was kind of surprised by that, because I had never played this game until 2 years ago, and I was never aware of the story, and I was shocked to realize how similar it is. And how do you get to all the stages within this game? How do you access the zones and the individual acts? Well, through hub worlds. Yes, hub worlds have been introduced, and these hub worlds are, they're not that great. You know, I'm all for hub worlds. Like, I love what is in Unleashed and Sonic Adventure 1. I like being able to roam around and talk to people, but these are not those types of hub worlds. These kind of just exist, and they can be kind of frustrating, because every time you turn the game off and turn it back on, you have to access the act that you're looking for. And it can be kind of frustrating, because it's like finding Act 1 is usually pretty easy. It only really takes a few seconds, but finding Act 2, sometimes you have to do platforming challenges. Yeah, within the hub worlds, just to access like Act 2, and that's like fucking fucked up, because it just really slows down the pacing. And if I've completed that challenge, I don't want to have to do it every single time just to access something. So, you know, that really just didn't need to be here. Especially when Sonic Advance 3 decides that it wants to have 3 acts. So it's really convenient that they have these big hub worlds really slowing down the pace. So I really wasn't a big fan of that, and I know it's kind of crazy, because you heard my other retrospectives on Sonic games, and Brad loves hub worlds, but not these hub worlds. No. So how are the zones in this game? Well, they're pretty good. I mean, I really like the opening zone, Route 99. I like the highway aesthetic. I think that this is really cool. It's interesting. There's a lot of different paths. There's a lot of opportunities for speed. I think that it's really cool. Sunset Hill. Well, this was before Green Hill Zone started being excessively put into all other Sonic games. You know, this is before Sonic 4. This is before Sonic Generations and Forces, and they shoved it all down our throats with constant Green Hill Zone levels. And Sunset Hill, though, is different. They do a lot of interesting things with the aesthetic and throw in different set pieces and obstacles. So it actually does feel different than any of the other revisits we've had in the future from this point. So that is definitely refreshing. Certainly playing it from this point in time, after the fact. Ocean Base. This can be pretty frustrating. It's an industrial level. There are definitely a lot of different traps here, and it can be a little bit frustrating, especially with these propellers. This mechanic never seems to really work right, thus making it a bit of a pace breaker. At times you have to slow down and just kind of hope that these things work correctly. Toy Kingdom is one of my absolute favorites. I think this is a lot of fun. It's just like a really cool little aesthetic, you know, and I really love the music here. Twinkle Snow is another stage that kind of is reminiscent of Ice Mountain from Sonic Advance 1. It's, you know, kind of similar aesthetically, different, of course, in design, but I think it's actually a superior level. We've got mine carts, and actually things are pretty labyrinth-like here. You can get lost, especially underwater. I found myself getting turned around quite a few times, but not frustratingly so. I did enjoy my time within all the acts of this zone. And Cybertrack really reminded me of Technobase from Advance 2, Definitely not a coincidence. I think I liked Techno Bass better. I think that was a better stage overall, so I'll give the point there to Sonic Advance 2. Chaos Angel. Now, these acts are definitely tough ones. It can be very challenging. There's a lot of different pitfalls. And man, Eggman is out of control in this boss fight. I mean, this is a tough one. It really is. I mean, you gotta be on point with this boss. You have to learn his patterns because once you hit him, he goes fucking apeshit flipping around. And I like this style where you enter into these little tunnels on the side of the screen and you come out on the bottom and the top depending on which one you enter. I think this is a really unique fight. It's a great challenge and I was definitely fucking frustrated. I was cursing up a storm, but I have to say, wow, like it's a tough boss fight and I think it's pretty good. And it's not unfair. You just need to really be skilled here and have some patience and really watch Eggman's movements, get the patterns down, and just beat him. You know, you gotta have some patience. And, you know, I'm not one of the kinds of people that like want, oh, it's too hard. Oh, make it easier. No, it's like, I understand that certain bosses are fucking bullshit in certain games. And Sonic has had his fair share of them. And this boss, no, I don't think it's bullshit. I just think it's a really clever design, and you just have to be a little bit patient with it and just kind of be skilled enough. And since this is a late game boss, you know, I think that's perfectly acceptable. You'll also fight against Gemerald, which is Eggman's new robot accomplice. And he's modeled after Emerald from Sonic Battle, so that was really cool. And it's nice to have a additional antagonist for the ride because, you know, sometimes it gets a little bit tiresome just battling against Eggman. It's nice to have a few boss fights against another antagonist, and you get that with Gemerald. But Gemerald will always be along for the ride with Eggman because he incorporates himself into the boss fights one way or the other, and you'll usually always see his head protruding from Eggman's machines. In fact, in the Toy Kingdom boss fight, you will actually see that Gemerald is the one who does most of the attacking. So I like that. It's more of a team effort. It's sort of like what we saw in Stardust Speedway with Metal Sonic and Eggman, but this is a bit more hands-on, I would say. And as far as the boss fights against Eggman are concerned, you can clearly see that we're no longer doing the auto runners from Sonic Advance 2. We're back to just regular fights like in the premier Sonic Advance. And while I do miss the auto runners and I did find them enjoyable and thrilling and exciting, it's nice to get back to the traditional style of boss fights. Now, if you're anything like me and you don't have the patience to do the special stages, which are complete bullshit, and we'll get to them in a moment, the last part of the game will be at Alter Emerald, which you will fight against Gemerald and Eggman's newest mech, the Hyper Egg Robo, and I love the way how this boss looks. It's pretty fucking tough and it's easy to die, but I love this screen filling boss. I think it looks fucking awesome, and fighting in front of the Master Emerald, this just looks just so fucking cool. I love the visual. Now, you'll go on to the true final boss if you have all the emeralds, but I don't, because you want to know what you have to do here, so I'll give them credit here. This is not a bad system about how you get the emeralds in this game. This is how you get the Chaos Emeralds. So, you have to find 10 Chow in each zone, and they're spread across the 3 acts. You could also find Chow in the hub worlds. There's 1 in each. Now, when you collect the Chow and you complete the stage, it's yours to keep. It's saved to the game, and it's yours. you did it. You got that Chow, and you don't have to replay that level to get that same Chow again. Hallelujah! That sounds awesome. Sign me up. I'm getting the Chaos Emeralds. Okay, I already said that I didn't, so you know that I'm being sarcastic. So what's the problem here? Why does this suck? Why is this bad? Well, here's the thing. So I did it. I did it in Route 99. I get all the Chow. I collect them all. Okay, great. Now you gotta go find a key. Once you go get that key, you collect it. You complete the stage that you found the key in, which is randomized. It's also going to be in different parts of a stage. A lot of times it's in the same location, but whatever. So you go and you find it, and then you take it to the hub world, and then you can use it to access the special stage, which is done by jumping on one of these springs. And okay, that's much like Sonic Advance 1 in the way that you do that, but okay. So these special stages, this is where it all falls apart. It's all about depth perception, and you just don't fucking know, if you're gonna get these rings or not. It is fucking impossible to aim the tornado to where you want to go, because your character that's standing on the tornado's wing has to be touching the rings. And this is easier said than done, to say the very least. Now, Sonic is my favorite game series of all time. I think that goes without saying, but holy fucking shit, the special stages in these games is more times than not a total abomination. Ever since Sonic 2, I don't care what people say, I like the special stages in Sonic 1. I really couldn't care less what you say at this point about a game from over 30 years ago. They're not good, no. They were way better than Sonic 2, and it's been a hellscape from that point on. Yeah, in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I like those special stages. They're not amazing, they're not breathtaking, but they're good. And then from that point on, then it really started to get out of control, and the special stages they're bad. In all the advanced games, I don't know how they managed to do it, but they suck. And I'm saying it 3 times for each advanced game. All 3 of them are bad. They are horrible in their own ways. Now, Sonic Advance 2 does not have a problem with the actual special stage. I feel those are fair enough, like the actual stages, but the whole process of getting there just doesn't make it worth it. So it automatically is just fucking horrible, because getting there is half the battle. And 1, the special stages themselves are horrible, and in 3 they are as well. So, you just fucking break even, and they're all bad. This is just unacceptable. I don't know why it always is this way with Sonic Team. Why they feel that they need to just, fuck around and find out later on about how bad they are and how much these stages cause people grief and getting there. Look, I am all for a collectathon. I don't have a problem with finding the Chow, especially because you're letting them be saved to the game once you find them. That gets a big thumbs up. I think that is a good concept. I think that works really well. I have no complaints on that front. But I have a big complaint about once you fucking get there and you get the key and you get in the stages and they just end up becoming unplayable. There's my big problem. And this is what happens also. Say you fail in these special stages. Guess what happens? You lose the key. Now, you don't have to go back, obviously, and collect all the Chow again, but you do have to go find that key that's in random locations. Doesn't that sound like fun, guys? No, it doesn't. It sounds fucking horrible. It is horrible, and it is forever now horrible. The game's been made. It's done. I don't know. It doesn't look like anybody's interested in modding it or anything like that. And quite frankly, I don't really care, because Sonic Advance 3 is a good game, and I don't need to play the Super Sonic stage to be satisfied. Anyway, Yeah, I mean, this is a really good game. There's very good level design. I love the team mechanics, but dear God, the special stages are horrible. And I think I've said enough on that. All right, so I'm going to stop complaining about that and talk about something more positive, and that being the music, because the music is fucking kick ass, as it has been in all these Sonic Advance games. Although I don't think that this soundtrack is quite as good as Sonic Advance 2, which is one of the best Sonic soundtracks I've ever fucking heard. Sonic Advance 3 definitely has an awesome OST, and it is definitely worth a listen. Chaos Angel Act 1 and Act 3 are so good. The music is so awesome. Oh my god. I mean, these are just some really good tracks, and you need to go listen to them. They are so satisfying, and they fit the zone's aesthetic so well. You need to hear them to really appreciate how good Sonic Advance 3's music truly is. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Sonic Advance 3. I think this game gets a lot of things right. Definitely gets more things right than it gets wrong, and, well, I hate to say it again, but special stages. The special stages, yes. They're bad. They're awful. And the whole process of getting there. So, yeah, we're not going down that road again, but that to me is still... If anything about these Sonic Advance games, it's the fact that it's almost impossible for me to ever play the true final boss stages, because I just am not going to spend all the time and aggravation on them. They're just not worth it to me. But aside from that, Sonic Advance 3 is definitely a must play. If you have not played it, I definitely suggest that you do. You'll have a great time, formulating all these different teams, experimenting. That's so good. That's just so original and nice. And it was also cool to see them go back to a concept that wasn't introduced too long ago in Sonic Heroes from this point. So it was nice that this was one of the few times where Sonic team actually went back to a previous concept and didn't just completely scrap it all together. So that was nice. And the fact that they went back and they actually fixed certain things that were frustrating about Heroes, and they managed to do it on a handheld game of all things. Go figure. So that was cool. And I wish that Sonic team would do this more often. Instead of embarking on all new and different concepts and going back and focusing on bringing back old stages constantly and all that sort of stuff they do, and focusing on all these remasters and stuff like that. What I would like them to do? I would like them to go back and fix things that were broken in the past and not abandon them. Go back and try different things, like with the parkour system in Lost World, because that was pretty cool. It just needed some adjusting. I think that there are a lot of different concepts in older Sonic games that definitely could use a new coat of paint and be brought back and reutilized in new and refreshing and improved ways. So that's my suggestion to them. I think that there's proof here in Sonic Advance 3 that you could go and take another game and build off of the gameplay and the concepts introduced in it and improve on it. Just because something didn't totally work out the way you wanted it to doesn't mean that it's a complete and utter failure and it should be thrown in the dustbin of time. You should go back and retool, and they've done this in many other games. I don't know why they don't do it here. You know, they could definitely save themselves some time brainstorming new concepts when they could just go back to old ones and just tweak them and give them a new fresh coat of paint. And of course, you know, different zones and stuff like that. We're not going back to Green Hill again. Okay, so, you know, that's what I'm saying. That's my suggestion. Go back to old concepts and try to improve on them. And that would be yet another example of what Sonic Advance 3 did right here. They took a concept that I wasn't too crazy about in Sonic Heroes, like the team stuff kind of didn't feel fully realized, and here it does, and I couldn't be happier about it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the dislike button if you fucking hated it. And if you want to donate to me on Patreon, I would definitely be very grateful for that. And thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.